I'm just forcing my wife to miss a funeral because I want a day off. I don't think it's too much to ask. Am I the a-hole? Just reschedule the funeral.
Just take the funeral and move it somewhere else.
All right, the edit at the beginning is a beautiful start to the story. If you're going to comment saying she's sleeping with her boss, move on. Out of context, we don't know what that means, but we're about to find out.
But we love it.
So, my wife and I have 2 children, a 4-year-old and a 6-year-old. Our 6-year-old is on the autism spectrum. It goes without saying that this is a very stressful position, and neither of us get very much a break from this. My wife is a stay-at-home mom, and I have a full-time job. Okay? We got the lay of the land.
It's set.
As happy as our children make us, I don't think it's selfish for us to both desire breaks. We get them every here or there, but we made a deal to have 2 guaranteed breaks in a year. Our birthdays and Mother's/Father's Day. Of course, we get other breaks. I'm not locking my wife in the house aside from those 2 days a year. I cannot believe I have to clarify this. These holidays and birthdays are supposed to be guaranteed off. Other random weekends that one of us decides to take on the brunt of childcare just happen randomly. Okay. So on those days, the one parent takes the brunt of the burden so the other can get a day to relax. Since our youngest was about 2, we have practiced this. I have never failed to give my wife the day off she deserved. I'll schedule her a spa day or something she really wants to do and get her out of the house so she can relax while I'm on daddy duty.
That's nice. I like that. Good setup.
Then when she gets back, our kids give her cards and gifts and we get a meal from her favorite place after they go to bed. My wife has been less consistent and doesn't really do as much as I do for her. The last year, she really hasn't done anything.
Ooh, shots have been fired over here. Bang, 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 bang.
I typically try not to hold it against her as it is undoubtedly hard, but it does feel kind of unfair. This Father's Day, I planned something for myself and she made no indication of doing something for me. I warned her a week in advance and she said it was okay. This was until 3 days ago. My wife's old boss's dad passed away.
Wife's old boss's dad.
She was invited to the funeral by the boss and she chose to attend the funeral, which was 2 hours away. Your old boss's dad's funeral? I now understand the edit at the beginning of the story. As a result, I had to cancel all of my plans and take care of the kids. She was supposed to be home at around 5 in the evening, but didn't arrive until 10 p.m.
Yikes.
The kids were already asleep and my wife neglected to help them get even a Father's Day card for me.
Oh, dang.
We got into a huge argument when she got back. I told her that I felt like she really dropped the ball on this and didn't give me a break like I usually do for her. She told me she's home with the kids all day, about every day, and I only have to help out after work. And as far as she's concerned, I regularly get a break and she doesn't. I told her working isn't a break and that I was really looking forward to today. She said someone died and I was being completely selfish to make it about me. I said it was someone she didn't fucking know, who is a parent of someone she hasn't seen in over a year. And I don't think I was being selfish and asking her to prioritize my needs as a gesture like I do hers. She's been pissed at me since then, and we are not talking. Am I the a-hole? She was hooking up with her old boss.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many things. I have so many questions.
There is an edit.
Oh, okay.
There is an edit.
All right.
Do you want to hear
My
it?
curiosity is piqued. I want to hear what's going on.
My wife is not sleeping with her boss. Her boss is a married gay man. We attended his wedding to another man. The people jumping to the conclusion that my wife is cheating on me are being ridiculous and drawing a backstory on one glimpse of my life. This is one situation I'm asking for judgment. You don't know the inner workings of my marriage, and I doubt any of you who assume women going out for longer than expected means she's cheating will ever have a marriage of your own. Back. But what the fuck? She's going to a thing that she doesn't even know. She doesn't even know this old man. It's also his special day. Like,
That's
they
the
agreed
big
2
thing.
days a week or 2 days a year, Father's Day and birthday.
It sounds like he's kind of putting in the work and she's like not really bringing it to the days off.
Yeah.
So
I mean, I think they both have their kind of like areas of expertise. Like, he's working to provide money for the family and she's working to take care of the kids. And so it's like, I don't think it's fair for her to be like, you know, you're here with the kids. You get breaks by working.
yeah, it's like, bro, work is not a break.
I think this boss's dad's funeral is kind of ridiculous. I mean, I want to know what everyone else thinks. Put your answers in the comments. Is this an a-hole move by OP? Is OP not the a-hole? Is his wife the a-hole? Is the boss the a-hole for inviting these people to his dad's funeral that they don't even know?
I tried to impersonate Mary Poppins and paid the ultimate price. Now I am bedridden for my ignorance.
Never try to be Mary Poppins. This happened to me last night around 1 a.m., but it is still effing me up today and for the foreseeable future. After a long day of studying from 5 to 10 p.m. for my final this morning, I needed a break. I was overworked and needed some fresh air. I'm just the type of guy to study nonstop for a long time, other than a stretch every hour. But once I was finished studying, I drove to my girlfriend's house to visit her for a bit, as I hadn't seen her for a while. We relaxed for a bit, and I asked if she wanted to go for a drive, as the rainy weather is a vibe, even though it was literally pouring.
I love driving in the rain.
Like 20 to 30 centimeters of rain. I have no idea how long that is, how much that is.
Be American.
Come on, imperial system only.
So I said, sure, not realizing that this would be a terrible idea. So we went outside. And it was a nice night. It was warmer than you expect for weather in Canada. Now, whenever I'm with my girlfriend, she does bring out the best in me. That's f***ing cute.
Oh.
But she also brings out the dumbass in me.
Ooh.
So I had the wonderful idea of yelling, "Look at me! I'm Mary Poppins!" while jumping with an umbrella I was holding. I don't know why. It's just how I am whenever I'm with her. Either way, it was a dumb decision as I landed on my right ankle at about a 90-degree angle. Fell to the ground immediately and landed on my umbrella, breaking it under the force of my 6 foot, 210 pound self.
That sounds like it hurts.
Now, in the past, I really messed up my right ankle, either with sports or various other dumb activities, to the point where it's gotten very close to tearing/spraining some outer muscles ligaments and was unable to walk for like 2 to 3 weeks.
Ooh.
It happened in my mid-teens, so you would expect the muscles to be healed by now, as I'm 20 years old. But as soon as my ankle touched the pavement at that angle, it brought all the pain back.
Oh, God.
Which I rolled my ankle like really bad at a rave a while ago. Still gives me problems.
Oh.
I was doing a flip on the snowboard and I put my
Classic.
arm out and it fucking yoinked it, and I still have pain in it every once in a while. Fast forward 20 minutes and there I am sitting in the car doing a sharp inhale that most people do when they're a lot of pain, while cursing at myself trying to act like Mary Poppins. No one can even match her powers. My girlfriend laughingly asks if I still want to go on a drive, and as a tear rolls down my face, I say sure. After I drive, I head home to compress, ice, and elevate my ankle.
Why is he driving?
Then went to sleep.
Why doesn't she drive?
Maybe she drove.
Okay, maybe. And
Wow,
he's
are you just assuming the man drives, John?
Yes.
I don't know. I think you're sexist.
I think you're right. Just kidding.
Then I went to sleep. It's now today, and I wake up literally with the biggest swollen ankle ever. It's like my ankle swallowed an entire tennis ball. On the side, there was a huge purple bruise, which is not good. And I felt immense pain just walking to the bathroom. Either way, though, I had a final to write this morning and needed a way to walk. I had no clue where my crutches or cane were, so I had to use a softball bat to walk around the house. Luckily enough, I had a friend who let me borrow their crutches for the week to trade for the softball bat. After driving to the university and doing my final, which I think I did pretty good on, I drove a friend home and I got pizza for my girlfriend and to celebrate finishing my spring class. I opened up the compression wrap I had since this morning and 2 tennis balls have been put on my ankle. I really don't know how to describe how bad my ankle looked other than to imagine Count Von Count with a severe peanut allergy, but based locally in my ankle, it was that purple and swollen.
His ankle has boobies.
This show was sponsored by your sweet, sexy ass.
If you support our Patreon, you'll get one long, hard, extra bonus episode every week.
I'm talking 3 juicy stories right into those ear holes.
You'll get ad-free episodes. I'm talking all of those ads completely off. All natural.
Not to mention, we'll do it together, live, in front of a camera.
With Assholes Anonymous, you'll get a chance to talk to us directly and maybe be featured on the YouTube channel.
Wait, Saban, not like that. Like, the fans get to share their stories with us and other fans, and we get to talk about it, right?
And then we'll moon each other at the end.
Oh, God.
So if you want all that Axe ass, support your boys at patreon.com/OKOP show.
That's patreon.com/OKOP show.
So now, here I am in in my room, still cursing at myself for trying to be Mary Poppins. I will be calling my doctor tomorrow morning as I need to get my ankle checked out. What really makes me mad is I was expecting to be free from the business of my spring class, to be able to go outside, but I am now stuck in my room, probably for the next week, recovering from my Poppins related injury. Good thing I finished class. You don't try to impersonate the goat.
Are you kidding me?
Bro, if I try to impersonate Simone Biles, I'm getting my neck broken.
Done.
Speaking of Dunn, trying to impersonate Olivia Dunn, done as well.
My son just met his biological father. Now he wants to change his last name. I refuse to let him disrespect me like that. Am I the a-hole?
Who raised you?
Ooh.
Who changed the diapers? All he did was knock up your mom. You know what I did?
What?
I raised you. Yeah.
Let me start by saying my son, Adam, is 22 years old.
Okay.
Back when my ex-wife Tori and I were trying for kids, we found out that I was infertile. We decided we'd adopt, and then about 4 months later, my ex-wife is pregnant. I was thrilled because I thought maybe the doctor made a mistake. No, I was wrong. My ex-wife cheated on me, and I didn't find out until 20 years later.
Oh no.
My ex-wife Tori told me 2 years ago that she cheated on me, and we did a paternity test to make sure, and well, he's not my biological son.
Bro, at that point, just die with your secret.
After revealing she cheated on me, my ex and I divorced a few weeks later.
Sheesh. That's rough.
That is rough. Ever since my son found out the truth, he wanted to meet his biological father.
Damn. I mean, yeah, no, that makes sense. That makes sense.
Yeah, you kind of would, right?
I want to meet him.
He did, and they started to become really close. It hurt me much more than I thought it would. He's an adult, and he can make his own decisions, but it hurt really bad. They started to bond, and all of a sudden, Adam became really distant to me. It's been like this for almost a year and a half. I try to text him to make plans for dinner, and he says he's busy with Chris, the biological father. Yeah, that guy. I tried numerous times to connect with him by calling and texting, but he never made plans aside from like a meal every other month. We used to do stuff together every week, but it's been completely different since he found out about Chris. I couldn't stand it. My son, who I raised since he was a baby, treated me like I didn't matter.
Ugh.
Anytime we'd actually have plans, he would still be cold and distant. What I mean by that is he became much more defensive of his personal life. I'd ask him how his classes or his friends were, and he'd just say, fine, but never go deeper than that.
Dang.
He also changed his major from econ to computer science and didn't even mention it to me until a year later. Fuck. Man, he's just drifting hard. So I told him how much he was hurting me because of how distant he was, and he apologized and he said he'd do better. He never did. I told him numerous times and he never changed. He was still distant. What was the final straw for me was a phone conversation I had with him last week. He said he was going to change his last name to Chris's. Because he liked it so much and because they were close. God. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. I told him, I can't believe that you're going to do this. That's really disappointing to me. If you decide to change your last name, go ahead. But if you do, then I'm no longer your father and I don't want to be involved in your life.
Damn.
Oh man, just back and forth. Like,
I think that is a bad decision on the father's part.
Yeah, I think you're right.
I understand it. I understand he's hurt, but like, you know,
straw that broke the camel's back and just like that gut reaction.
It's a tough situation, but I don't think he should have done that.
No, I agree. He hung up on me and I didn't even bother reaching out because I knew he wouldn't respond. I stand by what I said. I meant every word and still do. The last name change to me means he no longer views me as his father and views Chris as his, despite the fact that he's 22. My family told me I'm being unreasonable. Meanwhile, my best friend thinks it's reasonable. I was told to post it here. So Reddit, am I being the a-hole?
Please tell me there's an update.
Yes, there's some edits. There's some additional info. We got definitely a decent amount of more meat to go through, but
I think this kid is he's just figuring himself out.
Yeah.
He's very confused. So is OP.
Yeah. You
know, like you raise this kid, he's always going to be your kid.
I agree.
He's always, regardless of the biology, he's always going to be your kid. All right. Well, let's hear what this update is.
Let's get into it. Something to add, after I found out about Chris, I took a couple of days and didn't speak to my ex-wife or Adam. They didn't contact me. I didn't contact them. I just needed a break. Edit 2. A lot of you have been asking for the deeper meaning behind this, and I think I finally figured out why he's being so cold. A few months before my wife told us the truth, we were in a very long argument. His grandma, my mother, left a big inheritance for him that I am fully in charge of, enough to pay for college and have enough wiggle room to not stress all the time about it. After a semester of university, he started dating this girl, and he was head over heels in love with her. I never met the girl, so I have zero clue how she felt about the relationship. Suddenly, after a few months of dating, Adam asked me for about $3,000 to be deposited into his account from the inheritance. I already paid for the semester, so this was odd to me. I asked Adam why he needed the money. He said his girlfriend was having trouble paying for her tuition and had asked my son to help. Ooh, yeah, that
Yikes.
is very sticky.
Dicey territory, kid.
I told him no because it seemed to me that she was treating him like a piggy bank. He spent over $1,000 on her in just under a few months. He would constantly talk about how he loved going shopping with her so he could buy her things. To me, she was just after my son's inheritance, and I was right. What I said to him was basically this: Adam, you haven't been dating this girl for very long at all, and for me to give you that much money just to spend on her after a few months doesn't sit well with me. That's the money your grandmother left for you for your college career, not hers. If you two were more serious, then I would think about it, but I'm not giving you that much money just to give your girlfriend.
Which is a completely reasonable thing to say.
Turns out my guess was right, and she was after his money. They broke up shortly after and have had an on-again, off-again relationship ever since. He was upset with me, but he eventually got over it after a few months. Then we found out about my ex's affair. I don't know if that's the reason he's so cold. That was a huge argument that went on for weeks until she left him. Okay, so now I feel like we have as much of the story probably as we could get, I guess. So
what should the father do? What should
the father do? That is the question.
I mean, I think we kind of, I don't think the new information has changed anything for me. I think the OP was right not to give the kid $3,000 just randomly.
Yeah.
I think the kid changing his last name is like an act of rebellion or an act of like trying to get close to his biological father.
Yeah.
And I don't think OP should, stop that either. Because again, that's only going to create more resentment.
Yeah.
The best way to go forward again is like what we said, just like say you're going to be there. You're his dad, even though they're not biologically related. He raised them, and just be there for your kid when he needs it.
Yeah, it's really, it sounds like this kid is trying to maybe impress the new dad.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think both of them honestly need probably a lot of time to wrap their heads around it, I would say. And hopefully the son comes back eventually.
Yeah. But you know what we always come back to?
What?
The comments.
Oh, yeah, we do.
And speaking of paternity, we got Lotus Black 5 saying, I had something similar happening regarding maternity about 10 years ago. I'm Australian and my then boyfriend is German. We met in Australia during university and asked me to move back to Germany with him about a year later. He lived with his family as their house was divided into 3 self-contained levels, and we occupied one level. His parents another, and his sister and her family the remaining level. It was a bit of a tricky situation because the first time I was meeting them, I was also moving in with them, which is kind of crazy. A few nights after we arrived in Germany, we're all sitting down to dinner. My boyfriend, his father, his mother, and his sister, the 2 oldest siblings, lived in other countries. My boyfriend was the youngest of the 4. Anyways, I can't remember exactly how the conversation went, but my boyfriend had returned to our rooms after dinner, and I was in his parents' level still chatting with the family, and I noticed his sister sometimes called their dad by his first name. I also noticed that she had brown eyes, but the rest of the family had blue eyes, and it somehow came up that she was not the biological daughter of my boyfriend's dad, and I'd looked a little ignorant for not having known, but having just put my foot in my mouth by stating the color of her eyes, it turns out that the oldest 2 were my boyfriend's father's children from a previous marriage where he was widowed when the kids were extremely young, and the daughter came from the mother's side, and the father had little to no contact with her from a very young age. There was a bit of an age gap between the parents, but they'd met and gotten together when the 3 kids were still quite young, and then had my boyfriend together quite a few years later. I went down to my boyfriend's and my rooms and got upset with him for letting me walk blindly into an awkward situation regarding his family dynamics, and I would have been a bit more aware and sensitive to the whole thing had I known that the oldest 3 children were not his mother and father's together. He looked at me blankly for a bit, and confusion turned to shock, which morphed into disbelief. I just put my foot in my mouth twice in one night.
What?
First upstairs with the family, and then downstairs with the boyfriend. Although he was a scientist, he wasn't in the field of biology, and he had never thought about his sister looking different. He had no idea that his dad was widowed and his oldest brother and sister were from that relationship, or that the youngest of the sisters was only from his mother's side. He was the only child his parents shared. Although my boyfriend and I broke up sometime after that due to completely unrelated issues, I still sometimes think about that moment.
Wow. My goodness.
Dude, imagine being at dinner, realizing the whole family is from like different marriages, and then your boyfriend not even realizing that.
Too much. Too much.
Oh man. Well, we love your stories. If you have any illegitimate children stories, please put them in the comments. We love to hear it, and we'll see you soon.
Thank you.
That was a whole story in itself right there.